Hello, welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another large block exploration vehicle that's very heavily armed and has some very unique ideas on how to protect your guns from any kind of stray shots that could potentially disable it and put you in a bit of a pickle. So this thing that I'm currently standing on is called the BSE Spacer Escort Corvette Aion, which is this lovely thing over here. So this features 4 artillery guns on each side of this vehicle. We've got a couple of gatling guns at the back of the ship to help with a little bit of protection. Then at the very front of the ship, in this section right here, in these tiny little passages, what we got is another artillery gun, a static one for us to fire. But as you can see here, we've got 2 passages looped together. So coming all the way through, that's where the gun barrel is sitting, and this is a tiny little slot that has to shoot through. This completely minimises the amount of shots coming into the ship that could potentially disable it, which is a very novel idea that I haven't seen on any other design. Anyway, pulling away from this, going like that, pressing F10, finding it in the spawn menu, here we go. So this thing is 529 large blocks, using one hell of a lot of the DLC packs. We do have some scripts on here which are listed on the Steam Workshop page. So you can see there we've got the automatic LCD screen script, the auto-dawn airlock, the script that tells you if there's any damaged blocks on the ship that you need to go out and repair up, and of course the turret-based radar, which is always a handy thing to have. Just going to give this thing a thumbs up, move around towards the very front, have a quick look around the outside, then a quick tour of the interior, which will be very quick. It does have a small, very compact interior. Then we'll try and find some space pirates, test out the weapons, and we'll just go from there. So at the very front, which is what I talked about at the start of the video, what we got is our artillery gun, our manual artillery gun, behind 2 passages, which is how it's going to shoot out and hopefully be nice and protected. Surrounding all of that, we've got some dark grey and white steel blocks to make up the main body of the ship. Then on the left, right, up and down, we then see our artillery turrets to automatically blast enemies with. If we were to move around onto the side, here we go, we then see some ion thrusters help move this thing around. Ion thrusters are 1 or 2 thrusters that appear on the ship, with the other one being a couple hundred thrusters at the very back. Now as we move around all the way onto the side, there's some orange blocks. Then we've got some blue next to some more oddly sort of greyish-greeny blocks that go around our artillery guns. Anyway, up to there where I'm standing, we can see a camera to help on our left and right. Around towards the very back of this thing, here's our gatling turret for a little bit of defense from the back of the ship. All around towards the very back of this thing, turning on my light, there is our hydrogen thrusters. We've got 2 of them on this section with a singular ion in the middle. And on the very left and right hand side, just behind these gatling guns, we then got 2 more, then a couple ions to move us left, right, up and down, just behind it. All the way up and looking down, there we are, we can see some nice use of our steps, some added decoration. There's our ion thrusters on the top, there's another artillery turret, there's a nice use of the window blocks on the side there, just linking it all together for a little bit of decoration. These also double as additional protection for the inside windows, where putting the camera all the way through, here we go. And there we are, we see our rounded windows, although we're going to be walking around in just a minute. We back out to here on the front there, that's where I'm standing, next some blast edge blocks with a couple of interior lights, with some cameras on the front and left and right. And all the way down underneath this thing, here we go, all the way around, almost completely missed the ship there with how fast I was moving. And it's down to there, we've got some unfinished suspension blocks, right next to a doorway, right next to a connector, and a sensor block, which will detect when anything comes close. Yes, it is the double door for an airlock, all handled by a script. Anyway, towards the back there, there we are, more ion thrusters, this time no steps, just linking it all together, so we can get a sneaky look all the way into the middle here. And that will just show us some gyroscopes and a few more steel blocks. And there we go with that. So that is that for the outside. The Aion, it looks bloody fantastic how it's all been set up. It looks very much like something that SpaceX would design if you, of course, remove the guns from the outside, because we don't have any need for guns in space currently. And it's made it a bit more streamlined so it can actually get in and out of an atmosphere with ease. But yes, that's the first thing that came to my head when I saw this for the first time. Anyway, grabbing hold of my character, what we're going to do now is run towards the door on the side. Wherever it's gone, I believe it was down to the bottom here. Here it is. It's time to go around the interior. So into here, dropping all the way down, we don't have to do anything with this because it's all automatic. So that now closes up, and now we can open this up and walk on the inside. Now on the inside here, we do not have a gravity generator, so it's going to get a bit wonky while walking around. And this is what we're first greeted with. So right in the middle here, what we've got are some blaster edge blocks in the black colouring, which work incredibly well for a floor of say a warehouse or garage. I never actually thought about using them because they are quite an expensive block compared to the steel blocks. Look at the tiny bits of detail in there, lots of little scuff marks, which will work very well if you've got the spare steel plates. Anyway, looking up to there, we then got a cargo container to store a few bits and bobs inside. Into this section, we then got a bed, bookshelf, and then a locker. Over to here, we then got 2 armory lockers to store your stuff inside. Over to this part, O2 HG generator in the floor, a survival kit on its side. Then past this section, shower and toilet, Into this part, we look down at one of our large hydrogen tanks. Over here, our kitchen block and fish block right behind it. Into this section, another bed, another locker, and then our planter. And walking around into here, little table for you to sit on. Down to there's a small little hole for you to, well, maybe put in a modded block if you wanted to, or just use it to hide from any kind of boarding pirates. And at the back there's your store block, side of the fish block, coming to here, turning around. There we go, we can see all this section right here. With of course our cockpit that sits right up there. That did catch me off guard when I came around here the first time. I was desperately looking where the cockpit was, but just hidden away in the ceiling. Anyway, walking past this, past another little coffee station, round here, which is what we saw on the outside with our curved window, comes past into a small little engineering bay. We've got shelves lining the room, hydrogen engine, little freight crate where we can open up, store stuff inside. Behind there is a button panel showing us a few bits and bobs such as our air vents, our auction tanks, and of course if any blocks are damaged or not. Around into here, there's our button panel to actually control our hydrogen engines, and of course our batteries and whatnot. Then over onto this part, more shelves. Into here, but then got some more little hidey holes where we will have to use our jetpack to go all the way down. So coming down like this. Here we go, another little hidey hole in that section. There's our large hydrogen tank. There's our beacon that suddenly blinded us. Then all the way down to the bottom, then got an AI block, which we can activate on the cockpit. Moving all the way up, dropping down this side. There's that hidey hole that I talked about. We were just in that little living quarter right there. And coming all the way down past the opposite side of this hydrogen tank. Down we come past all these batteries. We'll eventually get to the bottom, but then got a sneaky reactor where we can store a bit of uranium inside if you wanted to. It comes with none by default, so it's there if you want to use it. And as for that, that's pretty much it for the inside. So all we've got to do now is come back down, walk past this section, come into our cockpit. This is in the ceiling, so up here next to our survival kit, in we get into first person view, but they've got a very odd contract vendor telling us our radar. And on the left hand side, they've got programmable block by auto-taught LOT script. Onto the right hand side, we then got our Whip's turret radar script, which is currently showing a few bits and bobs, which I believe is just the animation and nothing to be worried about. But yes, turning back to the front where our radar script is actually sitting, into third person view, these are the controls we get. So pressing number 1 to show a camera at the top of the ship to see what's going on ahead of us, and of course to help aim our artillery gun, which then fire with the left mouse button. Coming out of that, now moving forwards, what we're going to do is press number 3, because this is one of the script which I did make a small mistake with, where we're pressing F10 and going through all that. But this is our auto 180 script where, moving along here, I simply press that, take my hands on the keyboard, then it'll automatically flip us around at a full 180, then we'll put perfectly level, then boost all the way forwards, and slow ourselves down a lot quicker. It saves you having to do it manually, saves you getting a bit confused whether you're actually in the right direction or not, and just a handy thing to have if you have most of your thrust behind the ship. Anyway, number 4, that's going to be your AI block to turn that on and off. Number 7 is a very unique block which allows us to use the ship in reverse. Pressing that, we're now in the remote control block where if we press number 1 to take over the camera, this is going to be sitting right next to our connector, but we can't actually turn this around without actually having a mod to allow us to move the camera around. But this is our docking camera, but now we can actually move it around as if this is facing forwards, which makes it a hell of a lot easier to actually dock it up. And then of course number 8 and 9 is to actually connect up that connector, which is what this camera is for. Anyway, hopping out of that, back over to our main controls. Over to tab number 2 within controls for all the guns around the ship, where number 1, 2, 3, 4 is for our artillery turrets on each side there, and of course number 5, number 6 for Gatling guns at the back of the ship. And now done out of the way, that's all the controls. Just driving this thing around, here we go, moving forwards, a nice lot of speed, then slowing down naturally. We are a lot slower, so that's why that script is on there, to stop ourselves a lot quicker, if I'll do that right now. So here we go, one more time. All automatic, and fantastic stuff. So while that's coming to a stop, we'll then do left and right. So here we go, moving left. And moving right, we are very slow with that. Moving down. And moving up, we are, again, very slow with that. So we're not going to be taking this down to our planet. We are purely keeping this in space. Then of course for gyroscope controls, moving this thing around. Not too sure why I came into first person view like that. Yes, we've got a nice little control over this. It does have a fair amount of weight on this, so it does drag a little bit. As you can see there, the actual crosshair is moving around away from the camera crosshair. There we are with the actual demonstration of the weight. It gets quite far away for us to move it around quite violently. As for that, it certainly suits the size of the ship and what it's trying to do. So what we've got to do now is find some space pirates so we can actually test out all these guns in combat and see how effective that part at the front is at helping minimizing the damage to our artillery gun. And here we go, what I've done is found a space pirate mayday signal, and there it is in the distance. We're about 2.5 kilometers out. So what I'm going to do now is bring up the HUD, take over this gun, and we're going to see if we can do a little pot shot against it before moving up to it and letting the guns have their way. Let's go and fire right into that. And Looks like I completely missed it, so we're going to move all the way up, very carefully now because we do not have great stopping time. Now I'm going to start to log onto it, 2.4 kilometers out. Now I'm going to very slowly move all the way up to it, and hopefully any time now, it should be about 1.6 kilometers. All our guns will go. Oop, there we go. Now we're going to start blasting into it. Look at all those shots go. Look at all that damage done. I'm pretty sure they just simply disabled it in one volley. So hopefully they will just fire again, just for showcase purposes. I think that's about it. Oh no, they actually found something else to shoot. But it looks like we're not going to be able to slow down in time. We are going straight towards the main body of this poor little pirate ship. So here we go, third person view, all the way into it. And there we go. It's surprisingly strong for actually a small little ship. We just ram straight into it. Our cockpit is still fine. We still got our gatling guns on the back, which are now, well, they've been revealed to the front so they can actually shoot forwards. We did lose all the guns on the front there. And we can just sort of fly this thing around, but we do not have our reverse thrust. So that's about it for this poor little ship. But yes, as for that, it's a great little ship to use in your world. If you do want to have something heavily armed with nice sort of firepower that's great for survival mode, and for exploration and against any kind of targets, big or small. Of course, you don't have to use the artillery turrets on the side if you don't want to. If you want something more efficient and easy to build, you can always replace them with some more gatling turrets, or some assault cannon turrets if you want to have something more rapid firing. But as for that, there'll be links to the description below to shoot out and power it yourself. Highly recommend you do. And of course, the link to the Skybox I'm currently using. I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.